You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. The nation and the league arrive in Las Vegas in 2020. Live from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Everybody right now has dreams, don't they, guys? I said it to the rookies, all right? Everybody in the NFL, I have a dream of making it in the NFL. I got a dream of winning a Super Bowl. I got a dream of being in a Pro Bowl. I'm really not into dreams anymore, okay? I'm into nightmares. You guys with me on that? You got to end somebody's dream. You got to take their job. You got to take their heart. Are you guys clear about this NFL now? We're not trying to go to the Peach Bowl. We're not trying to go to the Gator Bowl or the Bluebonnet Bowl. We're trying to go to the Super Bowl. Okay? And to do that, you got to really try to end somebody's dreams. Are you clear on that, Farrell? Okay? I mean that now. So get into that.
All right. Welcome back to Silver and Black Today. Don't you want to run through a brick wall now, Kelly?
I just want to end somebody's dreams. Like somebody that comes into my shop, I'm just going to look at them when I don't have something. It's like, I'm going to end your dreams.
I'm going to end your dream. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are here. That was Coach Gruden, his speech. It's been making the rounds because it is a Hard Knocks concocted, but good speech. I'm not saying it wasn't authentic because I think that is John Gruden, and he wants to end people's dreams. And that is a good thing if you're a Raiders fan because guess what? The NFL is a tough business. You got to jam. You got to be ready to do it. Welcome back to Las Vegas's only All Raiders show. I am Scott Gobranson, your host, joined today by Kelly Kreiner, my co-host. Kelly, how's your week, man? Good?
Good, except for the grasshopper infestation.
So the grasshopper infestation, if you guys aren't in Las Vegas, because we have a ton of listeners outside the market, because apparently a lot of radio around the country and in the Bay Area is not giving as much time to the Raiders. But we have, the grasshopper situation. The grasshopper situation. David Stepanian. Boy, that cue didn't work as well as I wanted it to.
Which is at your feet.
Oh, well, we missed.
Do you hear the grasshopper, which is at your feet?
Okay, sorry. We had a little mix up there, but that was...
So that's what the whole setup was.
That was the whole setup. But if it goes quick, then it's cool. But that was, of course, Kung Fu, right? The young Kane. This is where he got the name grasshopper. Las Vegas has been invaded by grasshoppers. People think it's Godzilla invading the city because we're not used to flying insects here, Kelly. I told you that. Like when people ask me, what do you love about Las Vegas? I said, I love that there's no humidity. We have humidity right now. I said, I love there's no flying bugs. Guess what we have? Flying grasshoppers everywhere. And you know what's funny? They're colored like if they were Marines. Like they're camouflage, desert camouflage grasshoppers, Kelly. So they look like they're Marines, like in those camis.
Yeah, it looks like we are being invaded.
It does
for sure.
It does.
I work on the Strip, and the last couple of days, especially at night, under like the canopies where the lights and everything are.
Yeah,
it's insanity. Like,
it is.
It looks like something out of a horror film.
Well, and I know there will be people out there who will use this as a reason why the stadium's being delayed because of the grasshoppers. But really, they
grasshopper damage.
Grasshopper damage. But they showed the radar, the weather radar, which, listen, we get a little bit of rain. It's monsoonal season here, so we get the humidity from the Gulf of Mexico comes up, and we get rain. We get flash floods and all this kind of stuff. What we don't usually have is a lot of radar activity. So when you see the weather folks here in town do all this stuff, there's usually nothing on the radar. This time, though, there's so many bugs, they're showing up on radar.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's it's end of times.
That's what my wife said. She says, is Moses coming down from the sky next? Well, speaking of the sky, we have a big announcement we want to make today, and to do that, we're going to bring in a guest here really quick. But as you know, the Raiders are traveling to London for the second year in a row. They're going to be taking on the Chicago Bears on October 6th in Tottenham Stadium. It's a brand new stadium. They were supposed to play there last year. It wasn't done yet, so they had to go back to Wembley. But now they're going to be playing the Bears there. So the return of Khalil Mack against the Raiders, huge game in London. And guess what, Kelly? We're going. Silver and Black Today is going to London. We're going to be doing our show live from a pub somewhere. We will have some shepherd's pie and Guinness or whatever we're going to be drinking. No, not you. Yeah, something else for you. But here's the deal. We have partnered with just an amazing guy, and his name is Floyd Benjamin Jr. from Travel Bee. That's with 3 E's. And Floyd joins us now via phone. Floyd, how you doing this morning?
All right. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. We're really excited about this trip. And what Floyd has done with Travel Bee is he's put together packages for us, for you guys to join us in London for a 4-day stay. That includes hotel and airfare. And then you can also get your game tickets through Floyd as well on Travel Bee. And Floyd, we've set up a website. So if you got a pen, or if you don't have a pen, make sure you grab it. It is london2019.silverandblacktoday.com. So our website, just put London 2019 in front of that. That will take you to a landing page where you can book this trip. Floyd, tell us about what we're going to do. So if folks come on the site, they book the trip, tell us about the flight, accommodations, and then who we're getting the tickets through.
Okay, well, it's pretty basic. All you got to do is sign in on travelbee.com, and there's a direct link to actually get the tickets, and it's from a reputable ticket agency called Golden Tickets, and that's the only one that I've been able to find. I mean, I guess you can get it through StubHub as well, but this is really a reputable ticket agency, and it's pretty simple. You just go in there, click, select your seats. Hopefully we can all sit together. They're on all different sections. And the actual packages, they run from about $900 from Vegas, and that includes air and pretty decent hotel, 3-4-star hotel as well.
Yeah, and that is a great price too. And Floyd, we thank you for putting this together because it's huge. I was looking at airfare just to fly from Las Vegas, economically, and it was close to $900 alone just for the airfare. So you're talking about hotel and airfare for that price is just amazing. And Floyd, you do this for a living. Tell folks a little bit about Travel Bee and your experience.
Well, Travel Bee has been around since 2015. It's located out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And this will be actually my first dealings with a professional sports team. I've done tours, to the White House and African American Museum and stuff in the East Coast, but I'm very excited about this because I know we tried to put this together last year and we couldn't do it, and I'm an avid Raider fan, so yes. I'm very excited to pull this off.
Well, that's what makes this special is, and to our listeners, that's a big deal too, is that, Floyd is a Raider fan, and so this was something he wanted to put together, and luckily we've joined forces on that. And it's going to be a great time. We're going to be doing our show live from there, like I said, from a pub or somewhere. We'll also be hanging out with the team. So if you come over with us, we're going to spend some quality time together and be able to enjoy London and all that it has to offer. And then, of course, go to the game in force. It's going to be a big game, Floyd. I mean, the Bears, the return of Khalil Mack. I mean, you don't want to miss that.
Oh, no, I definitely don't want to miss that at all. I tell you, I do miss him, but, life does go on. And I haven't, believe it or not, and on my travels, I haven't even been to London yet. So this is really, really exciting for me. I mean, I've been a lot of places, but just haven't been to London. So I am really looking forward to it. And, of course, the Raider fans as well, they're all hyped up, and I'm ready. And also, we've got some other things that we're trying to line up too as well. We're thinking about trying to get New York, get to see the Jets, and also maybe do a road trip from Vegas over to L.A., and so we can beat those Chargers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The team that I actually rooted for as a child. Some Raider fans don't like me for that, but that's the way I'm not a Charger fan any longer. I'm just kind of a fan of the Raiders doing well. But you know what? That's going to be fun, and we look forward, Floyd, to working with you more and bringing Raider fans experiences and the opportunity to go see their team on the road. Again, it's london2019.silverandblacktoday.com. You can link right there. It'll take you right to Floyd's sites where you can book not only your airfare and travel starting at $900, but also game tickets. So, Floyd, we'll have you on in this next few weeks as well. We'll keep people updated. Floyd Benjamin Jr. from Travelbee. Floyd, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks a lot, guys, and go Raiders.
All right, Floyd Benjamin from Travelbee. Again, we're going to London, crew. We're doing a show live. We're hanging out with you. We're going to enjoy some beers and some food. Remember when I said that English food wasn't that great? We lost a listener back a year ago or so. It was pretty funny. But it's going to be fun.
We'll win him back when we're over there.
That's right. When he sees us and encounters the bundle of joy that is Kelly Kreiner.
Hey, if I can go, I'm there, man.
You're just effervescent.
That's one word for it.
All right. Well, so there you go. That was the big announcement. We're going to London. Are you coming with us? You better go with us. We don't want to be there by ourselves. We want to be there with members of Raider Nation. Again, London2019.silverandblacktoday.com. We're going to London. Later in the year, we're probably going to New York and we're probably going to L.A., but London is first up, and it's coming quick. Book your stuff now so you get the best prices and you are not left out. We want to see you there. London2019.silverandblacktoday.com. We're going to tweet that out here and in our other social channels so you'll see it, so you won't miss the opportunity. There you go. Crumpets and Kelly and Scott and Chaz. We'll all three be there. It'll be a good time. We're going to step aside for our first break here. When we come back from the break, one of my favorite guys in the business, that's John Kincade. He loves the Raiders coming to Las Vegas. He's got a lot to say about it. He's coming up next. You're listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
Las Vegas, meet Justin.
There is a ground ball and a tough spot. Bare hand Turner. What a play!
Fair ball up the third baseline. No, and a spectacular play turned in by Turner. Looked like it was going to get past him, but no way. Turner robbing Machado.
There's a payoff. Turner smashes another. He's got a 3-home run game.
Catch your Los Angeles Dodgers all summer long on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
You own rental property and you want to get the most out of your investment so you can get the most out of life. That requires hassle-free property management. And managing your rental properties can be time-consuming and stressful. Renters Warehouse believes you deserve a partner who gets where you're coming from. They know real estate investments because their CEO has been a real estate investor since he bought his first duplex in college. And that ground-level understanding was the inspiration in creating a process that has helped over 50,000 real estate investors, from people who've inherited homes to sophisticated investors with over 1,000 properties. Today, Renters Warehouse manages over 22,000 homes across the country, making them the largest real estate investment company in America. Join the thousands and buy or sell your next rental on the Renters Warehouse online marketplace and experience stress-free property management today. Visit renterswarehouse.com and take advantage of their free rental property analysis. Renters Warehouse. List, invest, rent. All under one roof.
I'm attorney Paul Powell. If you get hurt in a crash, did you know your lawyer can take more money than you? That's right. You get hurt and the lawyer gets rich. Not very fair, is it? When you hire me, those worries go bye, bye, bye. I promise never to take more money than you, and I put it in writing.
If you're tired of greedy lawyers, call 728-5500 or go to paulpowell.com.
I really can help.
Paul Powell. More lawyer, less fee.
Some restrictions apply.
Dear movers and shakers, we know how you roll, and we're with you on the tarmac or terrain in the 2019 RAV4, in the comfy Highlander with seating for up to 8, in the all-new 2020 Corolla loaded with the latest tech, and in the rugged Tacoma tearing up the trails. We're with you. Let's go, Toyota.
Right now, get $1,000 cash back on a new 2019 Toyota Tacoma, the best-selling midsize truck for the last 12 years. Offers end July 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
Excludes TRD Pro. Cashback savings from Toyota Motor Sales USA Inc. does not include college grad and military rebate. Must be applied to the transaction. No cash payment will be made to consumer. Varies by region. See dealer for details. Based on manufacturer's industry sales data as of December 2018. Offers end July 31st.
Visit your Southern Nevada Toyota dealer. Or for more information, please log on to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
O'Reilly
When your battery goes dead, everything could come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's a chance your local Geico agent laughs the exact way you do.
And I said, not in my sandwich.
What?
But there's a better chance your local Geico agent could help you out with auto, homeowners, renters, or condo insurance, motorcycle, boat, or RV insurance, too. They'll work hard to provide sound advice and significant savings. You don't need to share a laugh pattern to do that. Local Geico agents. Call or visit yours today.
The Dodgers take on the Nationals this morning at 9:30 on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And we have a special guest today, and that is John Kincade. You can hear him on The John Kincade Show, CBS Sports Radio from 5 to 7 a.m. right here on this station, 1140 a.m. And John, you seem to be in Vegas quite a bit.
Yeah, I try to get here as often as possible. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, which I've told you before. Atlanta's a beautiful place, great, thriving city. But to be honest with you, it's like we're living on the set of Footloose. You were asking me earlier, when will casino gambling and sports betting ever come to Georgia? I'm like, well, maybe my grandchildren would be able to see that day, because they will. We could not have a drink of alcohol until 2014 on a Sunday. Until 2014 in the part of Atlanta that I lived in. And so I will just tell you, sports gambling's not coming. So it's always been a big draw. I love Vegas. I love the hotels. I love coming out here. My wife loves to hit the slot machines. Even my 15-year-old daughter loves Vegas. She loves the shopping. And today we did the virtual reality over at MGM Grand. Tomorrow we're doing Topgolf. We're a big Topgolf family. And so it's like there's so much they do. People don't realize how much there is to do for families, and we love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, and we, for those of us who live here, appreciate it, because I'll be on a plane flying for business, and what do you do? Where do you guys live? You live in hotels? I said, yeah, I met my wife on a pole, too. No, yeah. But one of the things that you always talk about on your show, and you're a big fan, is the NFL. I mean, NFL football is coming around. It is now, to me, as much as I love baseball, it's the national pastime. And a lot of people excited about the NFL coming to Las Vegas. Other people are not big believers. Why do you think the Raiders and the NFL will work in Las Vegas?
There is no doubt in my mind that the Raiders is going to be huge here. And part of the reason is that of the 32 franchises in the NFL, there will not be one of them that has the built-in advantage of every single opposing fan base. It will be the game that they circle and say, I want to go visit them on the road. I think it's going to be a far bigger success than everyone could ever imagine. And by the way, has anyone been paying attention to what the Golden Knights have done? Not only have the Golden Knights totally gone... Everybody in NHL circles, and I worked in the NHL for many years, everybody that I knew in NHL circles told me it was a disastrous decision. Dumb decision. There's not enough people in Vegas. There's not enough people that will have an interest in it. The Golden Knights have set hockey on its ear. And because of the fact that they've turned first of all, a nice product, but also, too, they've made it Vegas. They put Vegas' stamp on it. It's like going to a show, the way they do all the in-stadium stuff. The Raiders aren't going to disappoint. The NFL has a built-in audience. People are interested in it. But I'm sure that they're going to find a way to give it its own Vegas feel. And I can't wait. I mean, I just can't wait, because every opposing fan base is going to want to come here. 2024, the Eagles play here. I already know that. So I will absolutely see the Eagles play their first ever game in Las Vegas.
Well, and using the Golden Knights as an example, right? When they came here, people had the same... They talked about visiting fans, and that's going to be important. I mean, talking 65,000 seats. But at the same time, a lot of Oakland fans who are losing their team are saying, well, it's not going to have the same home field advantage. Do you buy into that at all?
No, I don't buy into that. If you tell me that are the Golden, the way the Golden Knights are run, they hire a competent GM, they put a great product on the ice, and opposing fans don't take over the stadium in Las Vegas. In fact, I've seen opposing fans take over stadiums in established NHL cities. Look, if the product's good, Vegas will come, fans will come, and people, by the way, are going to fall in love with it's almost going to be like an expansion franchise that still has a history. And so people are going to fall in love from day one, and they're going to want to get on board. And there's so many people that have moved to Vegas that have come here, very similar to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta in 1995, there were 2.7 million people. There's 6.7 million today, 25 years later. We're closed. We're not taking any. No, you can't find a place there. Sort of like Jerry Seinfeld and you can't bet a place there. So, but I think Vegas is the same way. There's going to be a lot of people who came to live in Vegas now, who are raising their families in Vegas. This is going to be the second time in a few years where they get the chance to adopt a team from the first game in the town. That's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of criticism saying, well, it's not going to be like the Knights because the Knights were Vegas born. They were, but I don't buy that either, because I think when you move to a town, now you're a Philly fan still, and you've been in Atlanta a long time, but a lot of people adopt the team when they live in a town. A lot of people in Las Vegas have never lived in an NFL town. I have my entire life pretty much. Talk about, as great as the Knights have been and as great of an organization as they are, talk about what the NFL does in a city versus the NHL, because I think people in Las Vegas don't understand what's coming.
I think one of the things you're going to see is that there is a civic pride associated with football that just means a little more. And I think it goes back to, in many parts of this country, and I know it in Georgia and I knew it in Pennsylvania, Friday nights are really important with high school football. And then college football has exploded. I mean, I truly believe, and I'll fight it with anybody. People try to tell me that the NBA is closing in on the NFL. I'm like, look, do you realize not one of the games in the NBA Finals, pretty entertaining series, 6-game series, Warriors and Toronto, not one of those games got a higher rating than any 425 game that aired this year on CBS or Fox in the regular season. So a regular season NFL game, any one of them of the 17 weeks, got a better rating than every game in the NBA Finals. The NFL's huge, and it's a civic pride. Like in Philly, my mom, who were here in Vegas celebrating her 90th birthday, my mom, every Sunday, if she goes to church Sunday morning or if she's been, first thing she does is put on her Eagles shirt. She puts it on. It's just religion. And now it's going to be generational. It's going to take time. But people are going to fall in love with there's a civic pride to having an NFL team. There's a buy-in. And can John Gruden start working his magic? And more importantly, I would say, can Mike Mayock start working his magic? I'm a Mayock believer. I believe he's got a great eye for talent. I like the culture guys that he talked about bringing in the draft. I believe in Mayock. And so to me, I think there's a lot to look forward to for Las Vegas. This is just scratching the surface. And if you don't have your Las Vegas Raiders gear, which I guess they're not selling, right? I haven't found anything, and I thought I would. Like when I expected to see something, but I guess as long as they're the Oakland Raiders, they're not allowed to sell.
Yeah, the NFL will not allow them to sell. Now, this was told to me by the team. The NFL will not allow them to sell Las Vegas merchandise until this regular season is over and the playoffs are over through the Super Bowl. So they can't do it yet. But you mentioned Mike Mayock, you mentioned John Gruden. As an objective viewer of everything, I look at last year with John Gruden. Everybody knew there'd be some growing pains. They didn't have a great roster. It seems to me, nationally, there's a lot of skepticism about him because he's coming back, and let's face it, because of the money he's getting paid. Is that always fair?
No, it's not fair. And I can tell you, when I was with ESPN Radio before joining CBS, got to know Coach Gruden a little bit. Got to just pick his brain, got to interview him many times. And I can tell you, he's incredibly bright. He's incredibly competitive. And John Gruden is not going to want his return to the NFL to be a punchline. He'll do whatever it takes. Now, he might end up failing by the standards that people may have expected of him. I think John Gruden actually was an overhyped head coach, because if you look at his record, he's pretty much he was like a 525 winning percentage. He did win a Super Bowl, but he's like a 525 winning percentage as a head coach. Do I think he can win here? I think he can, and I think he can. I think he's going to die trying. And there's a difference. When Joe Gibbs came back to the NFL the second time, he was different. he wasn't as young and hungry, and he came back the second time almost with a pedigree. John Gruden's going to have to show me that the brand of John Gruden, that he goes back to just working. And guess what? I know he does. I know he works hard, but I don't know that he works smart. But I do know that Mike Mayock is a grinder, and I think that they have that in common. And so I'm not skeptical on the Raiders at all. And here's another reason I'll tell you why I'd be excited. I'd worry about one man as a Raiders fan. The fact that Patrick Mahomes is just starting his career. And you've got him in the division, and it's a pain. But what I would say is that in that division, you also have the opportunity to see Phillip Rivers is heading out of town soon. Phillip Rivers is on the downside. He's still playing at a high level. Sure. There's opportunity here. There's great opportunity here in the AFC West. And to me, the only thing that would really, really bother me is the fact that Denver hasn't been able to straighten anything out. They don't have anything. Mahomes is the only guy that would make me go, hey, why would be a reason to bet against Oakland, the now Las Vegas Raiders becoming something bigger? And that would be if they got to find a way to entrench their roster better and be able to battle Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that definitely should. I mean, you're going to see Patrick Mahomes for a long time, and there's still a lot of people. I happen to be someone who thinks Derek Carr can be the quarterback people can think he can be, but he's got a lot to prove, right? He's got to be able to step up, especially with competition in the division. Now, when you look at the NFL this year, the Raiders here in Vegas, the over-under on wins is 6.5. I actually like the under. The fans don't like to hear that just because of the schedule. Now, could it go the other way? The NFL. A lot can hinge. Somebody gets injured and your division changes and suddenly you're able to win. When you look at the Raiders this year, and what do you see? Is 6.5 about right? Do you think they could string it together with that schedule and the road games in London and Canada and all that stuff? What do you think of the team and where they're going to go this year?
Well, I think you're very observant on the fact that, too, the out-of-conference games is not an easy one. That's 4-year games. That's not easy this year for any of the AFC West teams. But then you're talking about a Raiders team that's not ready to win big yet. They could be ready to win, but I'm talking more like 500 win. And then but the Chiefs are ready to win now. The Chargers, I think, are the best team in the division. So to me, you're talking about the best case scenario is third place. And then, so that's going to, third place in most divisions is going to put you right around 6 wins. So there it is. I actually would lean towards if it's under 6.5, I'd lean towards that. It's not one of the 5 bets that I placed, though. When I got here to Vegas, they weren't one of the 5 because I think the way the ball bounces, I could see them, potentially not being a last place club. So if you think the Raiders are going to be a last place club, then you bet the under. If you think Denver and Joe Flacco are going to be slightly improved this year, then absolutely bet the under because I can tell you that I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in football. Wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are going to be extremely dangerous. And then and the question is, if you believe in Joe Flacco in Denver, bet the under with 6.5. And it's not a knock. I just think, first of all, I'm going to give any NFL head coach 3 years to get there. And since Mayock's coming in, I'm going to actually give them maybe an extra just to get things set up. But I think it'll be, I'm telling you, I'm optimistic too. And Derek Carr is a guy that I don't believe the history's been written on Derek Carr. I don't think we've got some, byline of exactly what he's going to be. He has to improve, though. And if there's any coach, though, who could get him potentially to improve, it's John Gruden.
More with John Kincade right after this on Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
CBS Sports Radio.
This is Jim Plunkett, and you're listening to the Silver and Black Today.
Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. We're joined again by John Kincade of CBS Sports Radio National. You can hear him 5 to 7 a.m. on Sundays, right before us here on CBS Sports Radio. And John, and with the NFL this year, okay, so we're going into 2020. We're already talking about the collective bargaining agreement, right? And the 18-game thing was floated. I think that's not going to go anywhere right now. In the future, perhaps. But you're looking at things like medical marijuana. You're looking at what do you think are going to be the key issues when it comes to the Players Association negotiating on the CBA? Although I don't think they have much leverage at all.
I don't think the NFL players are ever going to have the balls, if I can say, to be able to win that fight. To be able to say we're going to pass on these giant paychecks because the player's career span is so short, you can't afford it. Here's what I would say, though, to you. I think that the owners are giving back on things. I think they floated the 18-game schedule so everybody would talk about it. And I think that they're going to say to the players, okay, we'll give you the 16-game. We won't go to 18 games. I personally think they're going to go to 17 games. I'm going to give you a few predictions. Okay. They're going to go to a 17-game schedule. When the next collective bargaining agreement, it'll be a 17-game schedule. There will be 2 bye weeks. The season will begin on the same week, and the Super Bowl Sunday will be moved to President's Day weekend. And so, but what they will do is they'll play 17 games. Every single team will play a neutral site game every year.
Because of the international.
You'll have 8 home games. You'll have 8 road games. And what they will do is they will find international games. It may be called the International Series, where they'll give London 8 games. So what they got to do is they got to find 16 to have all 32 teams play. So maybe they give London 8. Maybe they give Spain, Barcelona, they give them 4. And they play the NFL's International Series game. So you'd play one game that'll be an International Series game. And look, the money's too big for the Players Association or go to a 17-game season, collective bargaining agreement, the Players Association would make $1.4 billion more. Phenomenal. And if they played 2 more games, which they won't, I don't believe they'll go to 18, projections are $2.65 to $2.8 billion more. The TV networks aren't passing on that. That money's waiting to be checked, and the owners aren't going to pass on it either. But I believe the medical marijuana thing, I think, is going to be a complete give back. The owners voice their displeasure. They don't want to be the police of marijuana. So what they're going to say is, we're not going to test for it anymore. They're going to be at the NBA. They're not going to test for it anymore. And that's what it'll be.
Well, and we're talking about going to 17 games, there's been some talk about also you could actually get to 18 games by maybe expanding the playoffs, adding a second bye week in the playoffs too for division winners. In my view, that's going to dilute the league because then suddenly are you going to have 3 or 4 teams under 500 in the playoffs? I don't see that happening. Your proposal and what you're talking about, your idea makes a lot more sense. But what else on the horizon do we see with that CBA that you think? I don't think there's going to be a work stoppage because, like you said, they don't have the guts to step back from it. But is there any other trouble on the horizon other than what we've talked about with head injuries and all of that?
I'll tell you right now, I'm not Adam Schefter. I'm not Chris Mortensen. I'm not one of these great NFL insiders. I've talked to enough people in NFL circles in the past 3 months that have convinced me that we will have a new collective bargaining agreement before the Raiders ever play a game in Vegas. So we will have one. But if you and I are sitting here next year, we will have a collective bargaining agreement already in place, and there will be a new agreement. They will not. I've been told the ball is in the collective belief is 75% down the field. This isn't like 2010. It's nothing like it. There's not the contentiousness because this collective bargaining agreement has allowed players and owners to get even richer and richer. So there's not going to be a work stoppage. I believe by next July we will have a collective bargaining agreement. So that will not be hanging over fans here in Vegas as they get ready for their team.
That's right. Now, again, we're talking to John Kincade from CBS Sports Radio, John Kincade Show, Sundays from 5 to 7 a.m. here in Las Vegas. John, NFL this season, now you talked about being in Vegas, making some bets. Who do you like to be the top team to beat? Who's somebody I know on your show last week you were talking a little bit about teams you like. Yeah, and so what you put your money down on a team. Tell me what your top team is.
Well, I put my money down on what I do is I bet over-unders every year. I publish them on Twitter so everybody can see who I bet. I have never lost money. I have had years where I've gone. I bet 5 and I've gone 3-2. I've had years where I go 4-1. Last year, I believe I was 4-1. I think I was 4-1 or 4-2 last year. But I've never lost money in whatever I wager. And so I went 4 unders this year. Wow. And only one over. And the one over I picked was the Chargers. Over 9.5.
And the Chiefs under?
I did not do Chiefs. I backed off that. I was thinking about that. But I even didn't bet, when I came out here, I didn't even bet the Eagles because they're 10. and I didn't want to bet. I don't try to bet anything unless I think it's going to be distinctly over or under. I pass. And if I see any potential for that team to fit right on, so I love the half. So if I get the hook, I'm always going to bet it. I bet the only team I did that was a flat number was I bet San Francisco under 8. The number's 8. I think it's preposterous. I think it's because I do believe what I always look at is I think that the Rams and the Seahawks are two of the best teams in the NFC. So then I'm saying, okay, third place team. I do my calculus, and third place teams average usually winning around 6.7 to 6.8 games. So if I see a team at 8 that I think is a third place team, I'm willing to bet that. And then, so when I look at it more, I did them under. I did the Detroit Lions under 6.5. I did the Washington Redskins under 6.5. And there was one other under that I need to think of, and I can't think of it at the moment, but I also went under on them. So I went, Chargers was my only over. And I did Redskins under, Lions under, and I got to remember the other ones. I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but I'll think of them though as we go on.
Well, and before we let you go, because you're actually here on vacation, so we appreciate you taking the time. But the NFL draft will be here next year. Hopefully, you'll be here too, broadcasting.
Broadcasting?
Yeah. Or are you going to come for?
I'm expected to. Oh, I thought you were just going to get a free trip.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. We'd get you out here, right? So
I'd love that, absolutely.
Have you work a little bit. But
yeah, a little bit.
NFL draft, I mean, we saw what a great job Nashville did this year. Coming to Las Vegas, too. It's going to be the NFL's kind of official kickoff in the market. How about the growth of the draft? It's been nuts, hasn't it? How big of a spectator issue it is now?
Well, I'm going to be a homer, and I'm going to say that Philadelphia was the one who actually made it into when Philly got the draft. It was huge. And I think that they showed that it could be this great event. I'm wondering, are they going to... Now, I'm thinking right now, are they going to do it around T-Mobile Arena? Where are they going to have the street party?
So, luckily, we have a good friend over at the newspaper here. His name is Mick Akers. He's really good at digging through public documents. He found some public documents because the Las Vegas Convention Authority is a public entity. Their documents have to be public. So he found emails that showed they're trying to build a stage on the Bellagio fountains to do it. Now, it's a long shot. So they're trying to do that. They want to close these four corners, too, and do it and do it on the street. That might be a challenge. But I think you're going to see it at multiple points. Las Vegas, as you know from being around town, there's downtown, there's the Strip, there's a bunch of different venues. I think it'll be in several venues, which will be good for fans in some ways and maybe not in others because you got to get around. But it'll be Las Vegas, as you know. We're building a stadium quickly. We build big things really, really well. It's one of the things that we do good here. So I think with the draft, you're going to see some kind of different approach to it. But it should be fun. Like you said, Philly kind of set the bar, and people have been reaching it.
Nashville was great this year, though. They really do a good job. I mean, I have no doubt that Vegas will just. I just hope for everything for this franchise and everything for your market. I hope to spend a lot of time here in my senior years, so I really want it to be good. I love the fact that NFL is getting it. I just want to see them from the word go and the jump. Get off to a good start. Like, have the team rising, and more importantly, though, do things right by the fans. Make it a great fan experience, and think about ways to do it. And by the way, I've heard a lot of people worried about, everybody I talk to here in Vegas, that the locals, where's everybody going to park? Where's everybody going to park? I said, let me tell you this. The Braves have had our new stadium, SunTrust Park. They built a entertainment complex all around it called Battery Atlanta. My studios are right there. They built our studios and moved them from 6A The Fan in Atlanta are right there. And I can tell you that everybody said, well, how are you going to park? There's not enough parking. And there really isn't around the stadium. Atlanta is one of those towns that is very big into rideshare. And they've created a rideshare system. It is so easy to Uber to and from. They've made it so simple. There's no reason to not. But the difference is this. For baseball, Ubering is one thing. Football, part of it's tailgating. That's the only thing I hope they figure everything out and they set it up right. That as far as for tailgating, because tailgating is a big part of it.
It is. And for Oakland fans, traditional Raider fans who've been there a long time, who are buying tickets here too, that's something that's very important to them, so we'll see it.
I would tell you this, though, and this is going to sound heartless, but I'm pretty good at that on the radio. Okay, what I would say is, screw what used to go on in Oakland. This franchise is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think that there are new traditions. There's a new identity. There's a new thing. I hope that Vegas doesn't start the black hole. I hope that Vegas comes up with something different. I hope that there is something that is that you guys realize this is your team now. And hey, you want to play nice with its legendary brand and its history and pay homage to the history. But BS on worrying about how Raiders fans want it that are in Oakland. This is a Vegas team now. Make it your own. And don't care about what the traditions... I mean, you care about the tradition of the franchise and its history and pay proper homage to that. But to the fans, you're worried about the Vegas fans. You're worried about making this a Vegas team. Don't worry about what the Oakland fans want or what they have to say about anything. Because once that team shutters up in Oakland, they're the Las Vegas Raiders. Not to be heartless, but that's how I feel.
No, we've said that all along, too. And we do know there's a gentleman who's a listener to our show. He's called Raider Elvis. He's 300 pounds, and he's going to come in a Raider outfit. So that's already something new coming, which is nice. It's not Spikes, but it's a Raider Elvis, so it'll be fun.
Is it the white leather Elvis? Is it that?
It's the 70s Vegas Elvis.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I would like to. I'd love to see that. I cannot wait to see that. I'm very excited to see it. I can't wait to see Vegas in their first year, and I wish you guys all the best. And I hear from so many people in the service industry that in Vegas that either call the show or contact the show or contact me on Twitter that listen and will catch some of the show. And I love everybody. I love this town, and I wish you guys nothing but success, and I look forward to visiting with you again.
Well, I appreciate it again, John Kincade.
Super Bowl weekend, maybe Super Bowl weekend catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be doing that. We'll be doing draft. We'll get you out for the draft. We got to get you out for the draft. But John Kincade, thanks again for so much for spending time with us, and we will be listening every morning as we get set for our show.
That's good. I appreciate everybody that listens. And look, I'm gonna say a lot of stupid things too. So just remember those. Remember how kind I am when I say all the stupid stuff too. So thanks,
yes.
man.
Yeah, and we'll make sure the women's soccer fans don't listen too much. No, just kidding. Again, John Kincade, CBS Sports Radio. We'll step aside when we come back. More on the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
The only way to take Silver and Black today with you is with a radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
All right, welcome back to Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Don't forget London 2019.silverandblacktoday.com. We're going to London. Come with us, enjoy it, have a pint, and watch the Raiders take on the Bears. It's going to be a blast. All right, it is training camp time, of course, just started this weekend in Napa. Now, we happen to have somebody live in Napa, of course, with us, and joining us live from Napa and from the Raiders training camp is...
Chaz Osborne, Silver and Black, today.
Chaz, we got you with that one, right?
I can't hear you very well. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. We'll get the volume coming down to you up a little bit here so you can hear us. We played the Chaz drunk clip as your intro.
Honestly, I can't. You guys it's muffled and breaking up. I can't hear you very well at all.
Okay,
we'll try and get a better connection here.
Yeah, we'll try it here. Chaz, we're going to call you back. We'll give you a call back right back. All right, so Chaz is going to join us. That clip is Chaz was not actually drunk, Kelly. We just use it because Chaz was at a draft party. You're shaking your head like, yeah, sure. He was at a draft party with the Raiders official draft party, and he was just excited to be working.
At a nightclub.
Correct.
Yeah, sure.
And there may not have been young, attractive ladies. By the way, while we have this chance, we're getting Chaz back on the phone because we had some phone issues, I want to, our sponsor, Michael Troiano, who sponsors our Newsmaker line, one of the best, if not the best, criminal defense attorney here in town. Want to congratulate him and his wife on the birth of their daughter.
Yeah.
This morning, Gianna Troiano came into the world in true Las Vegas fashion. You know she's a Las Vegas kid because she was born at 2:14 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Right? So 6 pounds, 1 ounces. 1 ounce, I should say, not 1 ounces. So we want to thank Michael Troiano for his sponsorship, but also congratulate him and his family on the birth of their first child. Just special. He sent me a picture. Very cool. All right, we got Chaz back on the phone from Napa. Chaz, you hear us better now?
No, you're still muffled. I can kind of hear you. Just talk a little slower. Maybe we can get it through. I don't get good service up here in Napa, I guess.
All right. So, Chaz, training camp, what has been the overall feel through a couple days up there?
Man, it's great. The energy, the crowd, the fans. There's around 1,000 fans over here yesterday. Obviously, being the first, full day, we kind of have a small sample size. But you can just feel, the energy and the players. The first thing you notice is how much better the roster is. And so it feels like everybody's just kind of pumping everybody up. There's just a great vibe. There's no Khalil Mack holdout, kind of dark cloud hovering over the practice. So everybody's just kind of free and easy, and it just flowed. It was great.
That's good. And Chaz, one of the things we saw too, of course, which I enjoyed, was Antonio Brown and the balloon. But then we find out later that day that he's on the non-football injured list. What are you hearing about AB and that non-football injury?
Yeah, we were asking around, and we couldn't get any information. So it's one of those weird things. I can tell you, most all the receiving corps were just impressive coming out of the gate, and Tyrell Williams especially, he really stood out. He's got such a love for the game, and his positive energy is just infectious. He's just out there having a great time, and you can see it just rubbing off on everybody else.
Yeah, okay. And Chaz, sorry, man, because of the phone stuff, we're going to have to let you go, or we're going to bring you back later in the show. So in the second half of the show, we'll call you back. We'll get the rest of the report from you, all right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Guys, listen.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. The nation and the league arrive in Las Vegas in 2020. Live from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. And now, here's your host, Scott Gilbranson.
Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Thanks to John Kincade. The last hour had a lot to say about the Raiders. Some fans like it, some fans don't, but that's him. John tells it like he wants to tell it, Kelly. It doesn't, he's not worried about the popularity contest. So I think,
And he shouldn't be, because you're never going to win that at this point.
No.
Just move on from it.
No, and he's been in the business a long time, has earned his right to kind of have his opinion, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's cool. We want to apologize. We had some phone issues with Chaz Osborne from Napa. Napa isn't exactly the cell tower capital of the world yet, so we're going to have Chaz back on later in the show to talk about his impressions from camp. He'll be on towards the end of the show in the second half of the hour, so make sure... And we'll do that. We're also having Gilbert Manzano coming on in just a second here. He's going to talk. We've been doing our tour, Kelly, of the AFC West training camps. So we had Benjamin Albright last week about the Broncos, and there's suddenly a lot of attention around the Broncos, which is interesting, but not as much as the Chargers. And so we wanted to bring on our good friend Gilbert Manzano. Gilbert, of course, was the beat writer, one of the beat writers for the Raiders here in Las Vegas with the Review-Journal, and now he's down in Orange County, and he's covering the Chargers for the Orange County Register, the Southern California news group. So we go out on the attorney Michael Troiano newsmaker line, and we're joined by Gilbert Manzano. Gilbert, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Just Sunday morning, getting ready for training camp, day 4 for the Chargers.
That's right. I know. Hey, you are busy. I know going into camp for a beat writer, it is nonstop, 24 hours, 7. And so we're going to get right to it. Now, of course, the big news with the Chargers, you can't get away for it. You wrote about it as camp started, is the holdout of Melvin Gordon. What's the latest there? We've heard that he's looking for $2 to $3 million, or they're $2 to $3 million apart. He wants a David Johnson type contract, 3 years, about $40 million. Where are they, and how is this going to be quickly resolved?
Yeah, so they don't want to say too much. The Chargers, when Melvin Gordon went public with his contract demands, the Chargers kind of went quiet. But now the training camp started, they've been talking, so I kind of got a better sense of it. I'm not too sure about money-wise, the numbers of how far apart they are, but Tom Telesco pretty much every teammate of Melvin Gordon, they all want him back. Tom Telesco was asked, what about the trade demand he made? If he's not extension by camp, he pretty much brushed it aside and said he's an LA Charger. We want him here for 2019 and beyond. So that's a positive sign that they want to work with Melvin Gordon. Now, from the Melvin Gordon side, I don't know how high that number is. Is he being reasonable? Is he trying to get Todd Gurley money, Le'Veon Bell money? He's a very good running back. It's up to debate how good he is. I think he is one of the maybe a top 5 running backs, but that's probably where they kind of disagree. I think I saw a report that maybe he's looking for $12 million annually. The Chargers are thinking more like $9 million, so they're pretty far apart. When it comes to that. So, but it's a long summer. Your running back's a veteran. For I know he's 26 years old, but going into year 5, he's a veteran. And these dog days of summer, you want to keep them fresh. So maybe right now is okay, but we'll see once mid-August rolls around and they still have no contract. That's when we should start kind of worrying about them.
Hey Gilbert, Kelly Kreiner here. Gordon's the big name with kind of the holdout, but the Russell Okung issue, in my opinion, could be a bigger issue because offensive line has been one of the weak spots for San Diego. Do they have any plans to try to figure that out right now, or are they just kind of playing this by ear to see where he winds up?
I'm with you. I think that's the issue is, not having their Pro Bowl to protect Phillip Rivers. A year ago, they kind of just got by with Russell Okung and Mike Pouncey, also a former Pro Bowler, helping out a very young O-line, especially on the right side. They're kind of inexperienced, and that kind of showed last year down the stretch. And then we go into the offseason. Sorry, some motorcycles going through right now. But then we go into the offseason, and they didn't really do much with the whole line. It's kind of the same group. They drafted a guy from Sioux Falls, Division II, third round, a very big guy, Trey Pipkins. I see him out there. He's like towering over everybody, but he's just not ready. He's not polished. He's kind of raw, and they don't want to rush him. Other than that, it's the same unit. And I started telling myself, are they really going to go with this again? This is a Super Bowl contender. Are they going to just risk it, roll the dice again? Everything has to go right. Melvin Gordon has to stay healthy because he's a guy who kind of, sometimes when the O-line collapses, he's good at breaking tackles. But now he's not in camp. And then I'm like, okay, well, they still got their left tackle, Mike Pouncey. And then you got the health scare for Okung. And it's kind of so far, I don't know if it's panic time, but I spoke to a doctor who deals with blood clots and what Russell Okung is going through, and it's very serious, and it sounds like the timetable for recovery could be a very long time. You got to be very safe and very cautious. You got to make sure he's ready because you can't put him back out there and risk, making this healthcare, worse or long term. So I think for right now, you got to go with what you got, and guys like and Trent Scott, they're young, they had some experience last year, but they struggled. But it sounds like the Chargers they're gonna try everything. They're gonna tweak everything. They're even putting some guys at center. Maybe they might move Mike Pouncey to a guard spot. So they feel like they're trying everything right now. But so far, it's not looking good. But again, it's July, so there's some time.
Early. Yeah, and again, we're talking to Gilbert Manzano from the Orange County Register, live from Chargers camp in Southern California. Now, Gilbert, you talk, of course, the offensive line. The Chargers now, are, like they have been in so many of the past few years, really are sort of media darlings. A lot of people picking them to go far into the playoffs again because of the year they had last year, because of the drafts they've had, because of Phillip Rivers. Now, Rivers is entering his final year of his contract. Is there a sense there, that urgency for him to win the big game? Are you feeling that throughout camp, or is it pretty much just business as usual?
Sorry, you kind of broke up. We're talking about Melvin Gordon, right?
No, we're talking about Phillip Rivers, final year of the contract.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. What's the deal? I mean, is there a sense of urgency now with him maybe coming towards the end?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. He's like the opposite from Melvin Gordon. Phillip Rivers is very content with playing out his contract, but then again, he's making quarterback franchise money for the last 10 years, so he's okay with money-wise. Maybe it's more of a thing where he doesn't want to be, because it's year 16. Maybe he doesn't want to be, thinking about his future just yet. Maybe he wants to go 1 year at a time, because who knows? Maybe after year 16, he's banged up. He doesn't feel right. Maybe he wants to retire. So why make a contract for longer years? Or maybe it's kind of like maybe for him motivation. Like he has a great team, And if you have a contract and you're secured, maybe the motivation is not the same. But it's kind of hard for Phillip Rivers. Is always competitive. He's always kind of a fired up guy. So for him, you probably don't need that. But it's just I can't really pinpoint it. But he's very relaxed about it. He's already year 16. Maybe he's come to with the money he has, and for him, maybe it's kind of a mental challenge to prove that he's still one of the best and deserves maybe a bigger contract. Who knows what it is? But the Chargers have said they're not going to let him get away. He's going to be a Charger for life, so I think that should be fine. But it is kind of strange to see a top quarterback go into their final year and play it out. I know we saw Drew Brees do it a couple of years ago with the Saints, and he got rewarded with a 2-year contract. So that could be something we could see down the line. And Big Ben also got a 2-year extension, so it could be something where it could be a 2 to 3 year kind of thing. Who knows? Maybe at the end of the year, but we'll see.
Well, and the other thing I wanted to talk to you, too, about one of the competition pieces there and of interest to Raider fans, too, because of the Raiders' revamped offense, is the competition at free safety for the Chargers. You have Rayshon Jenkins and, of course, the draft pick Nasir Adderley and Jalen Watkins. How does that look early on in camp, and how do you think it's going to shake out?
Yeah, so the I guess the top 2 picks, Jerry Tillery and Nasir Adderley, it seemed like when they drafted them, everybody was expecting they're going to be legit starters. They're going to be in there right away. And to start training camp, Nasir Adderley's on the 3rd-team defense. He's not getting much time with the 2nd team, and he's not sniffing the 1st team. So he's got to earn that job. He's got to work his way up. And for Jerry Tillery, he's coming off a shoulder surgery. He didn't do anything in the offseason, and he's not on the POP list for training camp, but he's been very limited. He's only done individual work. He hasn't done any team work, so we haven't really seen what Jerry Tillery can do. But when Jerry's out there working out with the D tackles, he's massive. He's towering over everybody. I keep thinking that's a pass rusher out there, but that's a D tackle. So they're going to be vital guys, but for right now, they got to work their way up because it's a very deep Chargers roster. It can't. I know Derwin James did it last year, but Derwin James was special, so these guys can't just jump in and kind of get a spot right away.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. And Gilbert, when you look at this team, because there is very high expectations, how do you think it's going to, so far in camp, how is that level of expectation, how has that impacted the mood around camp for the Chargers?
Yeah, everybody's talking about the Super Bowl year, and they're going to go far, and this and that. They have a loaded roster. They got Phillip Rivers. But they're kind of, they're tapping on the brakes to be like, hey, hold on. We haven't even won the division, the AFC West. It's been dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, the last 4 years. So they're kind of holding it down to just winning the AFC West first because last year they got the best record in the AFC, the whole AFC, but they tied with the Chiefs, and the tiebreaker went to KC. Then they had to go to Baltimore. They had to go to New England, and that's just kind of hard to do in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
It goes, to win a bunch of road games. So I think for them it's to win the AFC West first and take it from there. But I think they know there's people they're not going to surprise anybody. A year ago they kind of shocked people, but they know now they're kind of the people they're the ones being looked at. So they kind of know that. So I think having Anthony Lynn kind of keeping them even level, cool.
Sure. And calm, keeping
that really helps out.
Yeah, that leadership of a veteran coach who's been there for a while makes sense. Gilbert Manzano. Gilbert, man, we'll talk to you during the season. We appreciate all the hard work and wish you the best during camp.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
All right, Gilbert Manzano, Orange County Register on the Chargers camp. We're almost done with our AFC West tour. Next week, the Chiefs. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, Peter Guzman from the Las Vegas Stadium Board, from the Community Benefits Committee, and also, of course, the Latin Chamber of Commerce here in Las Vegas. We'll be back with him with a stadium update. You're listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Here's your host, Scott Gilbranson.
Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And in the studio with us today is Peter Guzman. Peter, of course, if you're in Las Vegas, you know who Peter is because he is everywhere. There is no one who works more tirelessly for the community here in Las Vegas than Peter as the president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. And also, the reason we have him here today is he is a member of the Stadium Authority Board's Community Benefits Plan Committee. Peter, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. It's exciting always to be in studio with all you guys, all the knowledge in here of sports and everything going on. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And like me, I know you don't sleep very much because you're always on the go and busy. But what we wanted to, we update folks. We have a lot of listeners, of course, in Las Vegas, but we have a lot of Raiders fans who are listeners outside of Las Vegas. So we always try to bring them information on the stadium that isn't just pictures of the construction. We do that too, and it's all good. And we see the final roof truss is up. They're putting the decking out there. There's all sorts of things happening. But with your involvement with the Stadium Authority Board and the Community Benefits Plan, let's talk about that. The Community Benefits Plan, what is it and what was its intent?
Yeah, so when you drive by and you see what's going on at the Raiders Stadium, you get excited for various reasons. When I see it, I get excited for those same reasons, but another layer. I get excited because the Raiders chose me to be their representative on this Community Benefits Plan. And basically what this is ensuring that because public dollars were used to help build the stadium, this made sure that minorities were going to participate in this construction. And when I tell you that they're not only participating, they are really building it. It's very exciting. The Community Benefits Plan is real. It is important. And it is really, really happening. For example, the SBE goal, which is Small Business Enterprise Goal, was set at 15%. They're over 21%.
Wow.
They're already exceeding it. Approximately $1 billion of work has been awarded, with $216 million of that committed to SBE firms,
Amazing.
Small business enterprises. These are mom and pop guys. These are people in our community who own construction companies, who own certain businesses that are benefiting. That's the word, benefit, Community Benefits Plan, and it's really happening. And the Raiders are to be applauded for being genuine and sincere about it. And as you can imagine, as president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce in Nevada, because that's a new announcement that's going to be coming out very strongly. We're statewide now. And there'll be announcements about that. But for us, of course, we're very excited because we want to see women, we want to see Hispanics, we want to see minorities participating in such a tremendous construction site, and this proves that it's happening.
Well, and I think one of the things you touched there, and some people might say, well, the work needs to get done. Does it matter who does it? And the answer is it does matter, especially if you look at the makeup. One of the things early on, even going back to when I first came to Las Vegas, Peter, in the early 90s, the first thing that struck me coming from California was how diverse a community we have. We have economic, racial, everything. It's so diverse here. And one of the things that has made Las Vegas go, people think of course, the casino business, right? And then it's a massive industry, the hospitality industry. But behind the scenes with that are minority-owned businesses. It is the backbone of our community. And, of course, we know. You just talked about in the newspaper, actually, the numbers of Latino-owned businesses. The percentage of Latinos who start a business in Southern Nevada and in the state of Nevada is so high.
Twice as fast as non-Hispanic.
Exactly. It's incredible.
So it's booming, and that's good for the entire community. Look, I'm not a guy who plays the race card.
No.
Even as president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce, all I want is an opportunity to be at the table. And so this Community Benefits Plan is exactly that. It gives the opportunity for those who have the capacity to do work can actually bid for it and get it. And I can tell you 102 different SBE firms have been awarded work, with 40 of those multiple contracts. That's a game changer for a person who owns a business. So when you combine that with the fact that the laborers union is out there and they're a very diverse group of men and women, you can see that there's a lot of minority participation going on at that stadium, and that's good for the entire community. The community, it should reflect what the community looks like.
No doubt. And of course, the Tommy and the Laborers Local 872, a proud sponsor of this show, so we thank them, and we talk about them all the time.
I want to mention another number because I'm very proud of this. The workforce goal in this Community Benefits Plan was 38% minority and female. Let me give you the actual. The actual participation is 63%.
63?
63%. And, we in that is 2% veteran, which I want it to be higher, and I know the guys want it to be higher, and we're trying to work on that. Again, it goes back to, are there enough companies out there that have the capacity?
That's true, because this is a massive project. And again, we're talking to Peter Guzman from the Stadium Advisory Board's Community Benefits Plan Committee. and the Latin Chamber of Commerce of Nevada. And with that, Peter, I think a lot of folks who were not necessarily in favor of the stadium because they might not be football fans, because they not be sports fans. This is exactly the reason. When you talk about community benefits, it goes far beyond events and being a football fan. It goes to the businesses and the money that they're going to be able to provide for them and their families by doing this work.
Yeah, it's called being a fan of economic development. Now, if you're not a fan of economic development in America, then maybe this isn't for you because, that's what it's all about, economic development where everybody, it trickles down. And we haven't even begun yet. Wait till the stadium opens and everything around it in a 5-mile radius is going to boom. This is what it's all about. This is why we testified. This is why I'm so proud that I testified for this to happen, this stadium to happen, and to use some dollars. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of using public dollars for everything, but public-private partnerships that end up being an economic boom for our community, I'm all about.
Now, the work you're doing on the Community Benefits Committee and the reporting you're going back, I mean, you guys have such great numbers, but I also know that you, like you mentioned, veterans, you go back to the board and you say, hey, look, here are some areas where we think we can do more. Besides veterans, is there any other areas you've identified that maybe, hey, look, we need to be able to step up and do more and initiate some conversations or activities so that you can get people more involved?
Yeah, the reality is that women, minorities, people of color, those numbers are all great. We're over 1,800,000 hours of work over there, okay? That's a big number. Where I don't personally feel completely satisfied is with veterans. Now, we don't really know yet if it's because there's not a lot of construction capacity out there, but I know that's being addressed. For example, I know the labor union are working a little strongly with the veterans and trying to get apprenticeships going and trying to get the capacity up. I don't think anybody's 100% satisfied. I know that they're not because I talked to the Raiders side and the construction side. We want more veterans to participate. It's certainly not from a lack of effort on our side.
Yeah. Well, and I know, like you mentioned, when the stadium opens and all of those jobs come into play as well, veterans will be a big part of that as well. Now, when you look at this project, Peter, and everything that's going around, there's so much going on in Southern Nevada and so much going on throughout the state. But the work you're doing with community benefits and looking out for this and these small businesses especially, how are you seeing the effect that it's having on other projects? The Raiders set this up. They made this a commitment. How are you seeing other groups now that are building projects maybe looking at that as the example of how you do it?
Yeah, there's no question. I've actually even gotten phone calls from other construction companies and sites on, they want to be educated a little more on this community benefits plan, what it's about, and how it could affect the construction site. Listen, it's not going to cost anybody more money to look like the community,
right?
Okay, and so that's the first thing I say to them, and that starts the process of a good conversation once they know that, because cost is a big deal. There's very fine margins in these type of things. So it's interesting that you brought that up because I am getting calls on that, and we're educating other sites on how to be a little more diverse and look more like the community.
Well, Peter, I want to thank you for coming in and giving this update. It's such an important piece of the stadium project that people talk about a little bit, but we wanted to make sure that Raiders fans understand what the team, what the local government, what you as part of the committee are doing to make sure that exactly what you said, that team building that stadium and operating it look like our community.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing me in. I think it's an important topic, and I'm glad that you do as well, because it's something that needs to get out there. And lastly, let me just say, I think you guys ought to include some video in here, because the way you guys are all dressed, did your hair and everything, it's awesome, and nobody can see it.
I know, my tuxedo today. We usually do have video.
Okay.
But we didn't have it today. So we will. The next time
then
you
come
come
in. Why do you have a tuxedo on?
The next time you come in, we'll do. Peter Guzman from the Stadium Authority Board's Community Benefits Plan and the Latin Chamber of Nevada. Thanks for coming in.
You know it all day. Thank you.
All right, we're going to step aside. Remember, Dodgers baseball is coming up at 9:30, so the rest of the show will be on radio.com. So if you're listening over the air here in Las Vegas, switch over to radio.com, and we'll talk to you there. Coming up, we'll talk more about Kelly's Corner and also Chaz Osborne from Napa from Raiders Camp. You're listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. This is Silver and Black Today live on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back to Silver and Black today here on radio.com. Of course, Dodgers baseball is on CBS Sports 1140. So if you were on there and you joined us back here on radio.com, welcome back. And it means you're more of a Raiders fan than a Dodgers fan, and I like that. Again, thanks to Peter Guzman for coming in and being part of that and telling us about our community benefits plan with the stadium. And of course, it's always good when you're doing live radio, Kelly, and you have breaking news. Breaking news. And that is, of course, that Chris Warren. Of course, there's a lot of Raider fans on Twitter right now that are embarrassed because I've been hearing for a year how Chris Warren is the answer at running back and how he was going to be a stud and all this kind of stuff. Now, they may end up re-signing him. Something might be going on. I don't know. But Chris Warren, if you haven't heard yet, was waived by the Raiders this morning. And we're going to get Chaz Osborne here live from Napa, who's going to talk to us about that and other observations that he's had in being up there at camp, Kelly. But are you surprised at all? That I'm surprised by the timing, not necessarily that he was waived.
That's the biggest thing to me. Camp's just started. That backfield is anything but settled. Besides Jacobs, Richard, he's pretty much got a spot in there. But it was wide open, in my opinion, coming into camp, who was going to wind up on the roster. And there must have been something at this point for this early to be like, it's just not, we got to move on.
And I will tell you this. I know last year it was very shocking for everybody because it was John Gruden's first year back. But one thing that you notice, and one thing I think you can also see where him and Mayock are also on the same page, is they make moves when they think it's the right time to make the moves. It doesn't matter what convention says. It doesn't matter how other people time out roster moves. They're going to do what they think is best. I'm not saying that every decision they make is the best because I don't know. That the jury's still out on a lot of those things. But the fact is, Chris Warren was cut today, and we don't know if he's going to be signed back or whatnot. We know Josh Jacobs, clearly going to be a star, I think. And then you have Doug Martin and others. And we now bring Chaz Osborne, International Man of Leisure, back in from Napa from Raiders training camp. Hey, a little bomb drop today, Chaz.
Yeah, just walking into camp, getting some breaking news here, right?
Yeah, so Chris Warren, he's been one of those guys where a lot of fans have loved him. He showed some spots last year before the knee injury of being maybe a diamond in the rough. Are you surprised by what you heard yesterday in talking to folks up there, both in the media and with the team, that this happened so quickly?
You're still breaking up a little bit, but as far as Chris Warren goes, it's funny because I'm walking in here as a Raider fan, and I'm pretty excited to see all the guys, and I'm pretty positive on everybody. And my scouting background just kind of kicks in, and I just start watching guys. And really, there was only a couple of guys that I thought, didn't really perform well yesterday. Maybe they were rusty or something. And Chris Warren, the third, was actually one of them. I've just got some negative comments here about him. He was dropping passes, and he didn't look very sharp. And so it's funny that today, boom, they cut him. So I don't know if that's, Coach Gruden and Mayock may be sending a message to the rest of the team, like, you got to come in here ready and prepared and, get to work.
Well, that's interesting, Chaz. Like you said, with your scouting background in the NBA and just watching players in ISO and on them, the fact that and maybe it was a cumulative thing. So being injured, practicing with the team last year into the offseason, you don't know what happens in an off-season workout situation and what he might be doing, and then he goes out on the field the last couple days and he might have underwhelmed. You talked about guys that you were watching yesterday. Who else were you maybe concerned about?
The other player that really didn't look that well yesterday was Garyon Conley. He got burned a few times, and he just looked very underwhelming. I don't know if his head wasn't in it or the same thing with the rust. But there was this. I'm talking about more than one occasion where he just wasn't there on the pass. He got burned. He was there late. So that's it's not concerning, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Well, and we had too, Chaz, Derek Carr, his initial press conference, yesterday, and he talked a lot about the second year. And we have a clip here I want to play, and I want you to hear that is about him talking about coming into his second year in this system and with John Gruden. So here's Derek Carr.
Okay. We had some fun with it, man. You know, Coach and I have had a lot of fun with it. You know, they're not in Coach and I's meeting room, you know, so we get to plan some stuff.
Sorry, wrong clip. Number 2, David, number 2.
You know, what I know and what I share is two different things sometimes, right? You know, there's some things. There's never been a time in my life where I took the field and thought we were going to lose, right? Never. What's different about this year is the guys that we added. You can tell if you just sat back and watched us practice. You watch people communicate. The little details, pre-snap, you watch our defense communicate. It's just different. You know, it's professional. It's how it's supposed to be, right? And we're laying a foundation that hopefully, you know, we want to turn around and win 16 games, just like everybody in camp right now, right? Last to first, right? That's everyone's goal. But what we're doing right now is laying a good foundation with good, solid people. And in my heart, I definitely believe that they believe we can win. You know what I'm saying? That what they think is, man, we could beat everybody, right? And when you get to feel that throughout the whole team, and that goes out into the other meeting rooms, not just the quarterback saying it every day, that carries way more weight, you know.
All right, that was Derek Carr. And Chaz, you can hear there, he's not taking shots at people from last year that are gone, but he's clearly saying there's a different feel, a more professional and a closer-knit maybe feel. Is that what you ascertained by being around there the last few days?
You know, I didn't hear the clip.
Okay.
Still a little fuzzy.
So Carr...
I do know that...
Yeah, go ahead.
Carr was talking about kind of, you know, how they had like their own private little mini camp down in Bakersfield. He said about 10 guys came down to his place, and you know, they were running plays, and he said they ran over 200 plays, and just they're all on the same page, you know, already. And as far as, you know, the opening press conference with Gruden and Mayock, they're talking about how they're already at the next level of the playbook.
Yeah.
So, you know, watching the offense yesterday, they were really clicking. They were really sharp. So, you know, going forward, this offense is going to be, you know, something. The one thing I noticed yesterday, when they were doing like a 7-on-7 practice, and then when they went to 11-on-11, I got to say the defense actually won. They collapsed the pocket on Carr. They made him scramble. They made him throw a couple of passes away. So, you know, the defense was actually pretty sharp too. So, you know, it's only the first day. It's a small sample size, like I said, but, you know, going forward, it's all positive.
Hey, Chaz, it's Kelly. You mentioned Connolly and Warren kind of, you know, not living up to any expectations you had. Has there been any player that's on the opposite side of that? Anybody that just kind of popped that you're like, oh, hey, this is something?
You know, Darren Waller really stood out. I mean, talk about a freak combination of just size and athleticism. Wow. But he was making incredible catches as well. So, you know, we've heard all this about Darren Waller, this and that, and finally, you know, to get to see him in person, he really stood out. And, you know, Doug Martin, talking about the running backs, you know, he's not just there to be a mentor for Josh Jacobs. He still got a lot of gas in the tank.
Yeah.
And he was giving all-out effort yesterday, so that was nice. And then, you know, the offensive line looked like it was set. You know, the same thing we've been talking about. You had Rodney Hudson, Incognito, Gabe Jackson, Colton Miller, and Trent Brown with the starting group. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, who steps up for those first two games with Richie Incognito out. But for now, that offensive line seemed pretty set. Those were the guys that came in with the first group every time.
Again, we're talking to Chaz Osborne, our own Chaz Osborne, co-host here, usually on Silver and Black Today. He is up in Napa at Raiders training camp. Now, Chaz, one of the best parts of training camp, and again, you and I are going to be up there August 7th and 8th for the workouts with the Rams, and we'll be doing a bunch of live content and video from up there. But this time you're up there, it's alumni weekend. Talk about running into people like Villapiano and Lester Hayes and all these guys. You having a lot of fun with them?
Yeah, you're talking about the alumni?
Yes.
That was great. They got a whole section set up for the alumni. And like I said, you know, there was around 1,000 fans there, and they just love seeing these guys. Here's Jim Otto and his little, you know, scooter rolling around, signing autographs, and Tom Flores is there, just to see Tom Flores, and Rod Martin and your guy, Phil Villapiano was hamming it up with the crowd as well. And, you just get that, and what Gruden talked about in that opening press conference, too, just getting back to that old Raider style, that mystique, that swagger, and to see those guys around, it just, it makes everybody want to be like that. And just for me, growing up a Raider fan, it's just great seeing all these guys. But then their interaction with the fans, their interaction with the players, it takes everything to another level. It was great.
Well, we appreciate you being up there and working over the last few days for Silver and Black Today and bringing content. We're going to have some stuff from you on the website coming up this week. And then again, we'll be up there in just about a week and a half for Camp Together, which will be a good time. Chaz Osborne from Raiders Camp up in Napa. Chaz, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, my pleasure, you guys. Great show.
All right. Chaz Osborne live from Raiders Camp. And Kelly, the surprise with Chris Warren, I think there will be more surprises. They're doing with this roster what they think is right. At running back, there was a lot of guys. I mean, let's face it. I think Doug Martin's going to be in the mix. People made fun of me last year when I said that he was going to be important. He ended up being important in some ways. And I think there with Jacobs and other guys, the Conley piece is concerning. I mean, it's only a day of practice. I get it. But it gives us something to talk about. But there's a lot of pressure on Conley, a lot of pressure on Carr this year. I think those are two guys people are going to be watching closely.
Yeah, and in our next my little corner, I'm going to talk about how this is overreaction time. It's confirmation bias season.
Yeah.
If you're high on a guy, one catch makes him the greatest. If you're low on a guy, he's trash.
Yes.
So yeah, it's that time of year. We've been fiending for football for so long. Now we have something to talk about. We are going to blow up every small little we're already talking about a backup fullback in Raiders Twitter and in Raiders football. That's how much we miss football. It's a backup fullback is now the savior of the nation.
So true. But you're right. Confirmation bias. If you don't like Derek Carr, anything he does in camp, you're still not going to like him, and vice versa. But it's also, when people say things like Chaz's impressions, he's a former NBA scout, so he looks at players from at a different level than I do. But it's his opinion, so you just never know. All right, we're going to step aside. When we come back, it will be time for Kelly's Corner. You're listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Sorry for some of the technical issues with national and satellite and all that kind of stuff. But for our listeners on radio.com, we are back. And it is time for one of our favorite segments of the day, of the week, Mr. Kelly Kreiner with Kelly's Corner.
All right. We kind of teased this earlier, but with training camp starting, everybody's just dying for any kind of football that we can actually talk about and we can see. So I will just preface this and tell everybody, do the Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Relax. You are going to see and hear things over the next couple days that mean absolutely nothing for the season. It's confirmation bias time. Every single play is going to be scrutinized to the nth degree. Calm down, everybody. Just because that guy you love makes one play does not make you right. Just because that guy you hate doesn't make a play does not make it right.
Correct.
We've got plenty of time for all this stuff to work out. I get it. We want football. We need football. And I'm guilty of this a little bit too, sending or retweeting something to Tony last night. We all know about my dislike of Greg Little's draft stock.
Oh, that video.
Wow, did he get torched.
Yeah, and you're talking about...
It's one play.
You're talking about Tony Cordasco, of course, the host of Saturday Sports Beat on this time slot on CBS Sports Radio on Saturdays.
He gets enough promotion. He doesn't need it.
That's true.
But yeah, I had to send that out when I saw that. It's one play.
Yes.
Does he look completely terrible? Yes.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's going to be a bust? Not necessarily.
Yes.
It's one play, but we finally get to see live football action.
But that's the point, right? What you're talking about was you get all of that together, people wanting and just craving football. Then you have journalists out there who frankly are working really, really hard, really long hours, and they might a play might happen in front of them. Garyon Conley got beat. He looked bad on that play. Okay, and that's just one play. Now, the rest of the day, I know Chaz had a different report, but the rest of the day he might have been fine. He might have looked great. But you saw that one tweet, so it just confirms he's never going to make it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, though, that's what we tend to find in the NFL, I think, especially with football fandom, is we find what we want to find because we can now. You're not just getting media through us and TV and radio and newspaper anymore. You're getting it through tweets. You're getting it through people that are there watching, other fans. And so now it's compounded. But I wonder if that also leads people down the road of unrealistic expectations and then disappointment.
I mean, unrealistic expectations is part of being a fan. It's like you every team. Oh man, this is our year. We're winning a Super Bowl. We're going 13-3. Blah blah blah. No, some NFL teams suck right now. Some NFL teams are going to be bad for a couple of years, but most fan bases don't believe that. So unreal expectations is the norm.
Yes.
Especially younger players. First, like rookies. Oh man, this rookie's gonna be great. Second year's where you make the leap. So you have, like I said, unreal expectations about how much better some guys are going to get over an off season.
Well, and then you take a fan base like Raider Nation. 17 years of futility for the most part. Okay, there's been some moments, of course, and it's compounded because you just want to get back there. Cleveland Brown fans have been in the same boat, right? Cleveland Browns fans, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to be disappointed again this year. You're a better team. The expectations around that team are ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'm not saying they might not make the playoffs. I'm just saying to think that they are going to be some, Odell Beckham, this tandem with Landry. Stop. Settle down. And to use, for those of you too old to remember Seinfeld, I'm sorry, serenity now. Serenity now, right? Take it easy. Yes, cheer your team on to make the playoffs. Raiders fans, I'm okay if you disagree with me betting the under on the 6.5 wins this season. That's okay. I hope you're right. I hope they win 7 or 8 games. They're not going to win 11. I'm sorry. They're just not. It's not going to happen. I shouldn't say that. The chances of it happening are very minute, right? So keep your expectations. And with players, too. I'm getting great fans of the show direct messaging me on how Carr sucks and how Carr is going to be terrible and that Gruden threw in the towel on him last year. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't believe it. I just disagree. And that's cool. We can disagree and be friends and have a stake bet over it, but that's about it.
Yeah, like you're saying, that goes both ways. You get too high, too low on people. Yeah, and you bring up Cleveland. Get an offensive line, then talk to me. I mean, yeah, their offense is going to be great. Their defense looks really stout. Their offensive line is going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And if that team starts off slow, it's Cleveland all over again.
Right.
The last time they were picked to even win that or favored to win that division, I think they wound up 4-12.
Right. And going back as a kid, I never liked the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I still don't like the Steelers because I don't like Ben Roethlisberger. I respect what he's done on the field for the most part, not off the field. But they just win. I mean, even when they have bad years, they're still tough to beat.
And Baltimore's the same
way.
We've been counting Baltimore out for 15 years.
Right.
All they do is winning record every single year.
Yeah, yeah. And even with now Flacco gone and they don't have that insurance policy there at quarterback, I don't see – you can be excited. I'm not telling Cleveland not to be excited. I'm not telling Raiders fans not to be excited. You should. In my view, the team is headed in the right direction. Most excitedly for us, it's they're coming here to Las Vegas. They're going to have a new home, a permanent home with a new stadium and all that stuff that goes with it. But then again, look at the expectations you had, Kelly, coming in here hoping that I would hit my second-year stride.
You have definitely underwhelmed and underperformed. But that's fine because, like you said, I mean, you've got me to carry this.
Yeah.
And talk about lowering expectations. We're talking about, like, if you're a Bengals fan right now, A.J. Green taken off the field.
Oh, that was tough.
You've lost 2 of your starting offensive linemen. One's out for the season, one retired. I have friends back home, diehard Bengals fans. I feel for you because this is the year. Just blow this thing up and start over.
They should.
If Green comes, if it's just a sprained ankle, which they think it might be, trade A.J. Green. You know, can you get something for Andy Dalton? who knows? But just completely start from scratch.
You know what? And that's what, with the exception of the quarterback, that's what Gruden did last year. I know the Khalil Mack thing. We can argue that from now until we're 100 years old. And there's going to be very good points on both sides. But I agree with you on Cincinnati. Tear it down and build it the right. You sometimes have to do that. You have to say goodbye to generational talents, to people like A.J. Green who are amazing football players, okay? But the reality is you can't win with one player. It's not the NBA.
Can't win with one player in the NBA.
That's true.
Anymore.
Now we found that out.
You got to have 1.5 or two at least.
Two at least.
You know, no offense to Toronto, that's Kawhi Leonard plus half a dude.
No, but it's a good point, and I think that for Raider Nation, whoever you like, whoever you don't like, you're going to stick with that. Now, I do see fans. I see glimmers of hope. I see fans who say, I doubted that guy, and he has shown me the opposite, so now I'm on his side. I like that, too. I think the redemptive value of performing at a high level is also cool. So for fans who are open-minded more so, they still have confirmation bias, but I like to see them come around on certain guys.
Yeah, well, the confirmation bias thing's completely unavoidable because I mean,
we all have it.
Yeah, you all have it. I try to be as objective as I can. I tweeted out one play last night. So I mean, it's like.
But you've been saying that about him since we were talking about the draft.
I've been saying about that him for like 3 years.
Well, yeah, and last year as we prepped for our big draft show, you talked about that particularly. I said I liked him, and you go, dude, his hands, his feet are terrible.
Yeah, I was like, like I said, but hey, is he going to be a starting left tackle in this league? I don't think so.
Yeah,
could he be? Yeah, he's got the size. I mean, he's got the size and the athletic ability to do it. I don't see it. And that clip I tweeted out shows that. And I think he might have been offsides, too. I'm not sure of the snap count, but I believe he was a false start. Or, I'll say a false start. So he knocks out all three in the park of the things he's bad at on one play.
Check out Kelly's Twitter handle so you can see what we're talking about. Rating the draft, at Rating the Draft. So, Kelly, we're winding up the show. I want to thank, again, our guest, John Kincade. I want to thank Chaz Osborne for joining us twice live from camp. And sorry, we've had a bunch of technical issues today. So for our listeners who've gone from hearing us to hearing music to hearing a live CBS national show to back to us, we apologize. We'll have the show up on all the other channels so you can download and listen to anything you may have missed. Remember, London2019.silverandblacktoday.com. Book your trip. Come to us with London. For Kelly Kreiner, my co-host, for Chaz Osborne on the road, I am Scott Branson. Thanks, and may the autumn wind always be at your back. We will talk to you next week on Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.